Hello gamers, benignchaos here, bringing you the last week and a bit in what I found most interesting in gaming. I have three things to talk about as usual today. First thing is Monster Hunter 4, which was just announced at the Capcom Game Jam. This will be on the 3DS and it's slated for spring 2013 in Japan. Not much information has been released about it yet, but there is a trailer out. It shows some very vibrant colors, which I'm really digging. Much more vibrant than I'm used to seeing Monster Hunter try. And the game is supposed to have something of a Wild West setting influence. So that'll be interesting to see. But the armors aren't going to change all that much. You still get the same kind of armor. It's more the setting and the NPCs. And speaking of NPCs, it's been reported that Monster Hunter 4 will be featuring more NPCs, more interesting NPCs as well, than previous Monster Hunter games. The game will have 4-player local co-op, but there's going to be more of an emphasis on single-player just to make it a more fulfilling experience. One of the big changes that seems to be taking place with this game is that there's no sign of the underwater levels from Monster Hunter Tri or Monster Hunter 3, and instead there seems to be a lot of climbing. Climbing on rock walls, but as well as climbing on monsters. As in the trailer you can see that the character is clinging to the backs of some monsters, kind of like Dragon's Dogma. The second game I wanted to talk about was that it's just been announced by Sega that Nights into Dreams is getting an HD remake. This is the old Saturn game, cult classic, and it's coming out for PC, Xbox Live Arcade, and PlayStation Network. It'll be hitting those services this coming fall of 2012, and it will feature leaderboards and trophies or achievements depending on what platform you get it for, and it will also have an option to play with the original Saturn graphics, so you don't have to play in HD. But I'm really looking forward to this. I actually do have a Saturn and Knights, but I don't take it out that often, and I love this game, as do a lot of people. It's very unique. I have a thing for non-violent games. Obviously, it gets boring if all games don't have any violence, but Knights is pretty neutral in this ground. There's maybe a little bit of violence, but it's definitely not the focus. So I'm looking forward to that one. Last thing I wanted to talk about is Gungnir. This is the new game that came out on PSP, developed by Sting and published by Atlas. This is the fourth game in the Department Heaven series, and technically episode 9 in that series. I got this over a week ago, and I've been playing it a lot. When you get the game, you have two options for difficulty setting, basic and advanced. I've been playing on advanced, but so this is the game that comes after we had Riviera, the Promised Land first, which was released on Game Boy Advance and PSP later. Then we had Ygg Reunion and Nights in the Nightmare, all on the same platforms. Now we have Gungnir, which is only a PSP release, and while it's not quite as genre-bending as Nights in the Nightmare, it does still somewhat defy accurate explanation in words. But I will try all the same. It's very different. It uses a very interesting risk-reward system where you have to manage tactics points throughout the battles. I'm skipping ahead here. Gungnir is a strategy RPG on an isometric square grid, and you control between 5 and 6 units at a time. Your whole group of units that you have, I believe, can never go above 14, so you're not going to be managing an army, but there are a lot of different character classes, a lot of different weapons, and this risk-reward system that I'm talking about, the tactics points, you get them by moving your characters around and securing bases that increase your maximum tactics points level. And you can use these points to do team attacks or to do other actions like forage on the battlefield or things like that. Or you can just hold on to the points and your characters will get slightly higher stats with more points. They'll do more damage the more tactics points you have. One of the things that I feel really sets this game apart Not only the tactics points system, which makes a much bigger difference than I thought it would, but the style of the turn-based mechanic in this game. It's kind of a mix of the Disgaea-like system where you have player turn and enemy turn, and a mix of that with the sort of Final Fantasy Tactics or Ogre Tactics, where each character has their own speed and then they act whenever their turn comes up. So this obviously shouldn't make sense immediately, but I'll try to explain. On your enemy's forces, each of the enemy's characters will have their own turn. So your enemy won't get to choose whoever they want to play, but the player turn pops up periodically amidst these enemy turns, and when it does, you have a choice of moving any one of your units. However, after you move a unit, they also have a delay associated with the actions that they do. If they just walk, the delay is very short, but if they attack, the delay is very long. And this way you have to manage what actions you do with which characters so that you make sure that you don't set up a delay at an improper time. It makes you think really hard. As I said, I've been playing on Advanced and I've died a lot. It's a little unfortunate that this game is coming out so late in the PSP's life, with the PS Vita already out, but this game has been in development for a long time, and I am digging it. I'm a big fan of the series. I've played Riviera, Ygritte Union, and Nights in the Nightmare, all of which I loved. Not such a big fan of Ygritte Union on PSP, but that's because they lowered the difficulty. In the original Game Boy Advance version, the default difficulty is much harder. And I really feel that that's one of the defining points of this series is the difficulty. Maybe not for Riviera, but definitely for Ygritte Union and Nights in the Nightmare. They definitely make you think, and they all have a bit of a risk-reward system going on. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about for this week. Because I've basically talked about the stuff I want to talk about that was announced over this week, we can probably expect next week's video to go up rather late, maybe Thursday or Friday. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please rate, comment, or subscribe, or any combination of those great 3 things. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.